You know, there's a great quote. I won't read the whole thing. One of my great American writer heroes last century was Kurt Vonnegut, and I saw recently, and he did an interview in about 2005 with David Brancaccio of the radio show, the business show on radio, and he talked about how great his Indianapolis public high school was. And it was during the Depression, and they had every program and band and magazine and things like that, and how he thought that was sort of the dream for American public schools. And he made some comment like, now we spend all the money on weaponry. Well, we're not spending money on weaponry here in Illinois, let me tell you, but we aren't spending it on schools. If we were spending what Illinois' own nonpartisan analysis given to the Educational Funding Advisory Board recommended on education and state dollars, we'd be spending $4 billion, with a B, billion dollars more a year on schools. And imagine what the conversation would be like today in Chicago, around the rest of the state, in East St. Louis, if we had those resources for our kids, for our children. And we need the governor to show some leadership and to work on a bipartisan solution. I don't really think that the citizens of Illinois had the stalemate we're in mind when they elected him. I don't. And I'm kind of encouraged that today or yesterday we heard Jim Thompson say essentially to the governor, look, we need a budget. You can't hold the state hostage to other items that aren't shared by other people. You heard Jim Edgar say that the other day. You heard Leslie Munger, the governor's own appointee, the Republican comptroller, say he's got to give up his anti-union demands in exchange that he wants in exchange for a budget. And they're unrelated. It really isn't right to hold these non-budgetary items hostage, if you will, for us to get the state moving again. It's too important. So if we do our jobs and we fund schools well, and we use them to help create engines, as schools, as engines of democracy and democratic education, we allow for charter innovation in a way that's consistent with our democratic values, controlled democratically, and used to rebuild communities. If we do all that, and use education and schools to rebuild communities within every neighborhood in the city of Chicago and in every community in this state, from Waukegan to East St. Louis, we will be far better off. And you won't hear governors clamoring for school choice, but it's a choice we've got to make. And I think we can get there as a society. And if we follow John Dewey's insistence on making sure our schools make sure our democracy works, then I think we have the best chance of achieving what he called a worthy, lovely, and harmonious society. And wouldn't that be nice?